Welcome to GDs. And this is Warrior, Season 1. Season starts with Ah Sahm reaching the shores of San Francisco in 1878. Reaching there, he gets into a fight, defending another Chinese migrant. Seeing his fighting skills, Wang, a black market salesman, takes him to meet Father Jun, the leader of the Hopway gang. Father Jun, worrying about a coming war with the rival Longzi gang, needs good fighters, and getting to know about Ah Sam's fighting skills, he accepts him in Hopway and brands him. Later, Ah Sahm gets to meet with his son, young Jun, who explains to him that they are primarily in the business of opium, which they get from China. But their rival Longzi has been pushing into their business, and this has brought them at odds with each other. He then takes him to a brothel, which is run by Ah Toy. Being there, he inquires about a woman, and we get to know that he came to China looking for this woman. Before he could leave, men from the rival gang of Longzi came looking for him, as they got to know that he inquired about the woman. Ah Sahm avoids being taken by them, and fights them off. Knowing that they came looking for him, since he inquired about the women, he goes to see them. Being there, he gets into a fight with their enforcer Li Yong. Their fight is stopped by the woman whom Ah Sahm has been looking for. It is when we learn that the woman is Ah Sam's sister, and he came there to take her back to China. But she tells him that her sister died a long time ago, and she is now Mai Ling, and is married to the leader of the Longzi. Mai Ling, finding that his brother joined their rival gang, asks him to leave and go back to China. On the other hand, the working Irishmen are quite angry with the Chinese immigrants, as they are taking their jobs. And because of this, few Irishmen attack and kill two Chinese laborers. Police officer Lee, seeing the attack, arrests the Irishman for murder. The employer of the Chinese laborer pressures Mayor Blake to protect his workers. The mayor, in order to appease the businessmen, gets a Chinatown police squad established, and its command is given to Officer Bill O'Hara, and Officer Lee also joins the squad. Later, we get to see Officer Lee appearing before the courts, where he agrees to testify against the two Irishmen. As the date for the trial is finalized, the two Irishmen are bailed out by Dylan Leary, the leader of the Irish mob, and he tells them not to worry. He later pays Officer Bill, and asks him to make sure that the policeman who caught his men doesn't testify in court. Meanwhile, Ah Sahm, after getting to meet with his sister, and seeing her response, is quite upset, and he returns to the brothel. As he interacts with Ah Toy, they find a connection, and end up sleeping together. We later see Ah Toy killing the two Irishmen who were out on bail, as a form of street justice for coming after the Chinese. While Mai Ling has a secret meeting with Deputy Mayor Buckley. She tells him that both the Chinese factions are looking to negotiate for peace, but Buckley doesn't want peace between them, and Mai Ling assures her that he need not worry, as there will be blood on the streets. In addition, we also get to see Mai Ling being in a relationship with their enforcer, while her husband, knowing that the Chinese have bigger problems, doesn't want to get into the opium business, and wants to maintain peace. But Mai Ling has other plans, and she tries to obtain a shipment of opium. Hopways, getting to know about the shipment, kill her men, and burn their shipment, in order to send them a message. On the other hand, Officer Bill is under a lot of pressure, and has to find the killer of the Irish men. Lee, examining the bodies, determines it to be the work of a single swordsman. Leary, knowing that the two Irish men whom he tried to protect are already dead, asks Bill to return his money. It is when we learn that Bill is a gambling addict, and he lost his money. With Bill having no money to pay, Leary tells him that he now owes him. We then get to see Penelope, a white lady, being accompanied by a Chinese man Jacob, who is her help. Seeing her being accompanied by a Chinese man, two Irishmen start to harass her. Ah Sahm, seeing this, steps in to protect her, and he is able to knock down the Irish men. But Bill, seeing a Chinese attack white men, knocks him down and takes him in for assault. Penelope tries to tell the officer that he helped him, but he refuses to acknowledge her statement. Penelope goes to her husband, who is indeed the mayor, in order to help out Ah Sahm. But the mayor refuses to intervene, fearing alienating his anti-Chinese white voters. We also learn that his second-in-command Buckley is indeed the one who is pulling all his strings. In addition, Penelope only married him to save her father's business, as he promised to provide him the cable car contracts, but he has still not gone through with the same. Penelope visits Ah Sahm in jail in order to thank him, and she tells him that she is trying everything to get him out. It is when she learns that Ah Sahm can speak English, and as they talk, we learn that Ah Sahm knows English, because his grandfather was an American. Penelope pleads to him to tell his side of the story, but Ah Sahm tells her that there is no point, as his ethnicity already makes him guilty. He also tells her that they are not only going after him for the assault, but also for the murder of the 2 Irish men. But when Ah Sahm is produced in the court, the judge refuses to entertain the charges of murder, as there is no evidence for the same. But for the assault, having the 2 witnesses who got beaten up willing to testify, they set a date for the trial. Leary, not willing to wait for the trial, reminds Bill that he owes him. Bill, knowing the same, locks 3 Irish men with weapons in Ah Sam's cell. But Ah Sahm was easily able to subdue all of them. As Bill returns, Ah Sahm calls him out for helping out the Irish. Bill is quite surprised to see him speak English, and as they get to talk, Bill starts to change his opinion towards him, while Officer Lee, seeing the Irish in the same lockup, figures out that Bill is dirty. Father Jun, learning about Ah Sahm being arrested, refuses to help him out, and blames him for being stupid and attacking the whites in public. But my Ling, getting to know the same, helps out her brother by threatening the family of the witness and making sure that they don't go to court to testify. The next day, the charges against Ah Sahm are dropped, as the witnesses failed to appear in court, and Ah Sahm is set free. This causes an angry mob to form, which the mayor subdues by promising swift action against the Chinese threat. Ah Sahm sneaks out of the courthouse, with help from Bill and Wang. Wang tells him that it was my Ling who sent him to help him get out. Ah Sahm returns to the Hopway and gets a hero's welcome party, only to be later punished by Father Jun due to his actions. Later that night, Ah Sahm goes to Penelope's house and returns the money she sent him in order to thank him. While an angry Leary orders the 2 Irishmen who didn't show up at the trial to leave with their families, while his gang sets fire to their house. The next day, Penelope sends Jacob so that he could tell Ah Sahm that she wants to see him. Jacob brings Ah Sahm to one of Penelope's houses. As Penelope and Ah Sahm talk, they get closer to each other and end up being intimate. Later, my Ling meets with Ah Sahm and gives him a ticket to return to China, warning him that it will be her last offer of goodwill before the war between their gangs breaks out. Ah Sahm rips the ticket and promises her that this time he will be the one to save her. My Ling later visits Buckley and tells him that she needs another shipment, as the last shipment got destroyed. In addition, she assures him that there will be conflict between the Chinese. Meanwhile, Bill, being a gambling addict, goes to a gambling joint being run by the Feng Hai gang. After losing the money he had, he asks his old friend, who was a former cop, but now is working for the Feng Hai, to front him some money. Damon agrees to do so, but when Bill loses the same, Damon beats him up and tells him that the Feng Hai have hired him as their debt collector, and it is his job to ensure that all Irishmen, even the cops, repay their debts, and he gives Bill 3 weeks to do so. Buckley, in order for the mayor to appear tough on the Chinese, gets the brothel run by Ah Toy to be raided by the police. Ah Toy pays Bill to keep things smooth. And Lee's opinion of Bill worsens, as he sees him accepting a bribe. While my Ling asks Wang to set up a meeting with the leader of the Feng Hai, as she wants to make an alliance with them, as then, they will have enough power to take on Hopwee. At the meeting, the leader of Feng Hai is not interested in forming an alliance with my Ling, and he even insults her. But my Ling already knew that he will not go for it, thus she had made an alliance with his successor already, and used this opportunity to poison and kill him. With him being dead, his successor Xing takes his place as the leader of Feng Hai, and he joins forces with my Ling. On the other hand, Ah Sahm and young Jun are tasked by Father Jun with transporting a coffin from Nevada to San Francisco. On their way, a gang of outlaws tries to rob them, but they push them back successfully. It is when they learn that the coffin actually has gold in it. With no feasible option for them to leave, they, along with others present at the rest stop, get ready to face the outlaws, knowing for sure that they will return. In the night, when they return back, Ah Sahm, young Jun, and the others are able to defeat them, and all the outlaws are killed. The next morning, Ah Sahm and young Jun say their goodbyes, and return to San Francisco on horseback. As they return back, we get to see the people in Chinatown, enjoying the celebration of the Chinese New Year. As the parade passes through the Hopwee territory, an attempt is made on Father Jun's life, by throwing a stick of dynamite. But young Jun spotted it in time, and Father Jun survived. But the blast resulted in fatalities, and among those who died, there was also a white woman. Senator Robert Crestwood, a Chinese Exclusion Act supporter, who is hoping to become the next US president, uses the white woman's death as publicity to garner support, in order to enact harsher laws against the Chinese. For the same, he also wants the support of Mayor Blake. Mayor Blake, although supports him, but is a bit reluctant on speaking out strongly against the Chinese, as their workforce is helping the industrialists who support him. It is when we find out that Buckley assures Senator Robert that he need not worry about Mayor Blake's position, as he will assure that he gets on board. And Robert assures him that when he is the president, Buckley can work for him. Young Jun learns from Wang that the attack on his father was perpetrated by the Feng Hai and their new allies. Knowing the same, young Jun, Ah Sahm, and Bolo attack the Feng Hai's casino in order to send a warning to the Long Zi. Getting to know the same, Long Zi asks for a meeting with Father Jun. As they meet, Long Zi apologizes to Father Jun for the action of his subordinates and wants to return back to the days of peace between them. Although he got assurance from Father Jun, but seeing the way he responded, Long Zi tells his wife that it's not over and they will be coming after him. Knowing the same, they move out to a secure house. But Hop Wei was able to find their location. Young Jun informs Ah Sahm that they have sent their most fierce enforcer Bolo to take care of Long Zi and his wife. Ah Sahm, knowing the same, seeks Ah Toi's help in order to know where Long Zi is hiding. While Bolo, already being there, kills all of Long Zi's men, but before he could finish off My Ling, Ah Sahm reached there, and he saves her. He then gets into a one-on-one fight with Bolo, but before they could end their fight, My Ling stabs and kills Bolo. Ah Sahm leaves from there, while My Ling, knowing that now it's her time to lead, kills her husband. Meanwhile, we get to see Damon visiting Bill's home in order to remind him that he needs to pay. Bill assures him that he has the payment and asks him to meet later at the Irish bar. But Bill was not having the money, and he wanted to meet at the Irish bar so that he could set up Damon. And before he goes to the bar, he asks Lee to watch over his family. Being at the bar, he asks for Leary's help in order to pay his debt to Damon, and in the process, he intentionally slips up and informs him that Damon is indeed working for the Chinese. As Damon reaches there, Leary pays him at first, but later challenges him to a fistfight. Leary brutally beats him. Then he forces Bill to kill Damon, telling him that if he doesn't, he will come after him and his family, as he is the one who brought him there. Bill, knowing he has no choice, kills him, but is traumatized by the same. On the other hand, Penelope's father was still not awarded the contract for the cable cars. Knowing that his company can go under any time, he asks for her daughter's help. Penelope, getting to know what his father wanted, is quite angry with him, as in order to help him, she married Blake in the first place. Penelope later allows Blake to lie with her, hoping that by giving him this satisfaction, he will grant the project to her father. And it indeed worked, as Mayor Blake finally gives the first order to Penelope's father. Mercer, after getting the order, hires Irishmen as his workforce, since he promised the same to Leary, and with an Irish workforce, he starts production. We also get to see a bounty hunter from Georgia approaching Bill, and he informs him that Lee is a wanted man, and offers to split the bounty if he aids in Lee's capture. Knowing the same, Bill confronts Lee, who confesses to him, and tells him that he killed his cousins after they murdered and killed his black lover, just to prove a point to him. Hearing this, Bill exiles the bounty hunter from the city, and threatens to kill him if he ever returns. While Ah Toi buys a young girl Lai from a trafficker, as she is from the same village as her. Ah Toi assures her that she will not be harmed. And as she got comfortable, Ah Toi sees her practicing with her sword flawlessly. We also learn that Ah Toi has been investing in real estate with a white man called Patterson, who acts as the face, since being a Chinese woman she cannot own land. Patterson informs her of a lucrative land in which they can invest, and Ah Toi tells him to make an offer. Later, Patterson returns and tells her that after he made the offer, the sellers were able to figure out on who is behind him, and now they are threatening to go to the authorities if they don't pay them far above the asking price. Ah Toi tells Patterson to pay them whatever they want, and close the deal. As the deal is closed, Ah Toi visits the sellers, and she eliminates them in front of Patterson, knowing that they will be trouble for them later. And they disposed of their bodies at sea. But the body of one of their victims is later discovered by the police, and Lee, seeing the wounds on him, is sure that he was killed by a sword. While back in Chinatown, with Bolo and Long Zi being dead, the Hop Wei and Long Zi factions get ready for war, and we get to see a battle on the streets of Chinatown. As the dust settles, many were killed and injured. And this brutality forced Mayor Blake to back the senator's anti-Chinese initiatives. The Chinatown Business Association, knowing a war on the streets is bad for every Chinese, calls for a meeting between Father Jun and Mai Ling. And in order to settle their dispute with no further war, they proposed a duel between their best fighters. Wherein, if the Hopwei wins, the status quo will be maintained, but if the Longzi wins, they will be allowed to enter the opium business, along with a larger territory. Father Jun agrees for the same, and seeing Ah Sahm fight, he asks him to represent them in the fight. His sister doesn't want him to do so, as she knows that he will be defeated or killed, but Ah Sahm was not willing to budge. But before the fight, Penelope breaks up with him, as she was frustrated with herself, but she tells Ah Sahm that they don't have any future, and that he is indeed a criminal. Later, the entire Chinatown got empty to watch the duel that was about to start. Following the crowd, Bill and Lee also reached there. Penelope also reached at the fight, as she got to know about it from Jacob. The fight between Li Yong and Ah Sahm was quite intense, but ultimately, Li Yong came on the top. And he was ready to kill Ah Sahm, and even got a green light from his sister. But before he could, Bill, seeing the same, was able to save him by firing a shot in the air and ending the fight. With Ah Sahm being defeated, Father Jun agrees to honor the deal, despite young Jun's protest, and he divides the territories. In addition, he also banishes Ah Sahm from the Hopwei. Ah Sahm is taken in and nursed by Ah Toy, who helps him heal. As he recovers, he remembers his childhood, wherein his sister introduced him to a kung fu teacher, and she is the one who helped him learn how to fight. Young Jun also visits him, and he informs him that he is disallowed from joining other gangs, and is also banished from Hopwei. While Mai Ling, in order to show her people that she is their leader now, kills one of her council members, in order to prove a point, as he was not sure of her. She later meets with Buckley, who congratulates her, but tells her that with this new deal, there will be peace in Chinatown. But Mai Ling assures him that he need not worry, as the peace won't last, as she is not there to be under anybody's thumb. Buckley is happy hearing this, as he knows that the more turmoil within the Chinese, the better it is for his politics. And in order to keep the pot boiling, he goes to Mercer and tells him that they have received a lower bid for the project, and if he doesn't cut the cost, they will have to give the order to the other firm. Mercer, knowing that the only way to reduce cost is to hire cheap Chinese laborers, and knowing that he cannot lose this order, he shifts to Chinese laborers. Mayor Blake, getting to know the same, tells Buckley that they never had any other offer, and Buckley tells him that he bluffed in order to get the cost of the project down, so that they could save money. Mayor Blake, although not happy that he did this behind his back, but was okay with the same, as in the end, it helped him save money for his administration. While Officer Lee is attacked by the Feng Hai, as they wanted to send a message to Bill, as he has yet not cleared his debt. The attack caused Lee to be hospitalized, and the police started cracking down on Chinatown, because one of them got attacked. Mai Ling was not happy with the crackdown, and she confronts Xing for going after a police officer. Xing tells her that he only allied with her to gain power and to get into the opium trade. And in order to prove his power to her, he takes her outside, and we see his men completely surrounding their headquarters, and this forces Mai Ling to back down. Later, Bill confronts Xing, but Xing is not afraid of him, and he tells him that Feng Hai will no longer target his family and friends if he becomes their new debt collector. Bill, knowing he has no choice at the moment, and seeing what they did to Lee, agrees for the same. Meanwhile, a recovered Ah Sahm, being defeated, feels that he belongs nowhere, and thus has started working as a laborer. Seeing him work as a laborer, as well as missing him, young Jun offers him to join the Hopwei back, but Ah Sahm, not believing in himself, refuses. Later, we get to see Ah Sahm working in the factory of Mercer, who was forced to use Chinese laborers in order to cut the cost of manufacturing. Wang also tries to help Ah Sahm, and tells him that warriors are not slaves, instead, they only have two paths: get killed or get better. While Leary learns that Mercer has gone back on the word he gave to him, and is now using Chinese laborers. Knowing this, he decides to attack the men working in the factory. The Irishman, being in the factory, started breaking the hands of the Chinese laborers, as Leary moves forward to confront Mercer. Ah Sahm, seeing his people being attacked, was forced to fight back. But the fight between them is interrupted, as the police arrives. but the attack caused Mercer to suffer a heart attack, and he dies. Ah Sahm, fighting back, and listening to Wang's advice, gets his confidence back. He helps out Ah Toy, in order to avenge the attack on their people, and he starts off by bringing those Irishmen to her, who broke the hands of their people. And as the season ends, we get to see Bill, collecting for Feng Hai, while Lee recovers, and they continue their patrol of Chinatown. While Penelope, losing her father, decides to take over the company, and she starts working. And finally Ah Sahm takes up young Jun's invitation, and joins Hopway back. Thanks for watching. And if you liked it, please subscribe.